Judge Jacob Brown, the Jacksonville Bar Association, and the local bankruptcy bar are sponsoring what's called a Military Financial Wellness Summit on December 9th. So before we get to the details of the event, what does it mean to file for bankruptcy?
Sure. The majority of people that are seeking bankruptcy protection have fallen on hard times for various numbers of reasons. It could be a lost job, it could be a health issue, and most of them are just looking to get past their financial issues and get a fresh start. And that's what the bankruptcy law provides for the most part.
And who is eligible to file bankruptcy? What are the requirements?
Virtually any individual that has financial difficulty would be eligible to file for bankruptcy. Most businesses are eligible as well. And depending on what your particular issues are, it would govern kind of what chapter for bankruptcy you would file under.
And so is filing for bankruptcy, is that considered relief, or is it a recognition of a financial failing?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a failing in most instances. Most people have good intentions when they come to bankruptcy court. They've fallen on hard times, like I said, for various reasons, and they're looking for relief, like you said. They're looking for relief from the debt. And in the United States, we have a federal bankruptcy code that allows for most people facing financial issues to put those behind them and get a fresh start.
And so what is bankruptcy court like? Is it like regular court, like I think of with witnesses and testimony? Is there a jury? How does it operate?
We rarely have juries, but we are a regular federal court. In fact, it's the federal court where we see within the federal court system where most people appear. And it just depends on the nature of the case. Many cases never come before court at all. Some cases have issues over various debt or property rights, and so we'll have hearings and witnesses sometimes, and we have to make decisions and write orders.
And so what are the long-term consequences of filing for bankruptcy? And when you talk about relief, what does it actually provide for?
So the relief is generally if you do all the right things in your bankruptcy case, which tends to be you list all your assets that you have, you list all your debts, you give people proper notice. And if you do those things and meet the other requirements under the bankruptcy code, you get what is called a discharge, which is a discharge of most of your debts. Now, not all debts are discharged. Certain tax debts, marital related debts, child support, student loans is a big one that gets a lot of press currently. Those would survive bankruptcy, but credit card debt generally gets discharged, and a lot of other debts would get discharged. So you can move forward in life and not be legally responsible for those debts after you get a discharge.
It's harder to file for bankruptcy now, though, than it used to be. Is that true?
I wouldn't say it's harder to file. Back a few years ago, Congress passed a law that said that if you have a certain income level, then you have to be in a Chapter 13 and repay a portion of your debts from your income. So they made it, they just changed the law around a little bit, but it's some people could perceive that as being more difficult, but most individuals can still file for bankruptcy.
So talk about your docket load. Like, how many cases do you handle? How many cases does the Middle District of Florida handle? And how does it compare?
Sure. Like you said earlier, we are one of the busiest courts in the United States, and we tend to average per judge in the Middle District somewhere between 1,800 to 3,000 cases, give or take. It depends on certain times of year and sometimes financial incidents that would cause a wave of filings. And we handle those cases. We have a really, really good system for how we process cases in the Middle District with a really strong clerk's office and great support for the judges to be able to handle that kind of workload of cases. Historically, in the past,
are those numbers you're talking about per judge? I kind of missed.
Yes. per judge.
So as
And in
many
the
as
past,
3,000 cases before one judge?
yes. And some of those can be very, very active cases, and some of those we really don't see that much. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, though. Continue what you were going to say.
oh no, I mean, historically there had been times where there would be, nationwide financial incidents, and judges would handle 4,000 or 5,000 cases at a time. They've been really busy. So would the bankruptcy lawyers.
And so how does the Middle District compare to other districts? You say it's many more, and is there a sense as to why that is?
I think we have a pretty high population in the Middle District compared to some of the smaller areas. I mean, I've heard, and I don't know for sure, but there's some districts that, let's take South Dakota for example. I think that the judges in South Dakota may have less than 1,000 cases per judge.
So let's talk about this upcoming summit. It's your brainchild. Why did you conceive of the idea to have a financial, health summit for the military in particular?
So not exactly my brainchild. I have to give credit to the Florida Bar Business Law section, and specifically Judge Laurel Isikoff in Miami. She held one of these events back in 2020, a much smaller scale than what we're doing. And then the business law section said that went really well. Let's try to expand it to the other cities in Florida where we have a large military presence. And so that's kind of how we got started on this particular summit that's going to happen on December 9th.
And why focus on the military? What are the special challenges that service members face?
Sure. One, we want to give back for all that they have done for the country and recognize that. Two, the various problems that veterans and military face include financial issues, and we want to be able to provide a support network for them, help them out as best that we can. There are a lot of programs for people in financial distress throughout the Middle District and other areas, but we've decided to focus on military and veterans for various reasons.
And do they have special challenges that this summit is designed to address?
Yes, both in the culture of the military, in providing them, support that they may not be able to get from other places. And this summit is bringing together resources from lots of different areas, and I'll be glad to go over that in a minute if you'd like, to provide them with information. They're going to be able to meet with lawyers one-on-one. They'll be able to meet with a financial advisor one-on-one, and not just targeting military and veterans that have financial problems. Certainly that is a focus, but also if there's somebody there that wanted to meet with a lawyer or financial advisor to talk about buying a house or starting a business, there are those resources there as well.
So this is designed to be really kind of a one-on-one assistance.
We're going to have a short program. Very excited that your predecessor, Melissa Ross, is going to MC the event.
Oh, cool.
So we'll have a short program at the beginning with a number of people in the community that are sponsors or providing support, and that'll go for maybe 45 minutes. And then we're going to have tables set up with our various community partners that are participating. And then I don't know the exact number of lawyers and financial advisors, but we're hoping to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 volunteer lawyers and financial advisors there to meet one-on-one with any active military or veteran that wants to talk about whatever their particular issue may be.
And just very briefly, how can people register or get involved?
Sure. So there is a website that you're going to ask me to repeat 3 times, so let me go slowly. It's JAX, J-A-X, militaryfinancialsummit.com. That's J-A-X, militaryfinancialsummit.com. And you can go there and register. With the great support that we're getting from ViStar Federal Credit Union and the city of Jacksonville, we're going to be able to offer a free meal. I think there should be some other...
We may have to leave it there. U.S. Bankruptcy Judge Jacob Brown, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.